understanding the differences in each person just makes you more compassionate and makes you understand that, hey, it's okay for me to put together this worldview. This is what I believe in, but I also understand why that person would come into that particular conclusion that I don't necessarily agree with. So what's up, you guys, and welcome to Adulting with Joyce Pring, the how-tos of your 20s told by a 20-something-year-old traversing through adult life expectantly and with gusto. Don't forget to check out joyspring.com for the show notes and use the hashtag Adulting with Joyce Pring for all your comments, suggestions, and hopefully non-violent reactions. Another episode of SOS Shot of Sanity here on Adulting with Joyce Spring. Wow, that means that we've been doing this show for more than a week now.
Oh my god!
Right? Isn't
Wow.
that crazy?
It
One entire week.
it both feels long and not very long. You know what I mean? It feels like it just like zoomed by. Hey,
Explain this to me. Why is that? Like how come it feels the days feel so long and short at the same time? Like I can't believe we're recording this and it's Friday already.
it's Friday. I see. That's it right there. We have no concept of time.
Mhm.
It literally, and even the meals that we have are just like I feel like eating. Nom nom nom
That
nom nom.
excuses my 3 lunches for today. That's
Hey,
right.
I had two
Mhm.
dinners yesterday, so I mean, what can I say? That's it's just the way that it is. That's why I
Yeah.
think we have just come down to like when we feel sleepy. It's like okay, you sleep, you wake up, and then you go through the rest of the day. You have no concept of what time it is, what day it is, and to some extent, you don't even have a concept of responsibility. Like you don't have to go to work or where you're not supposed to go to work, or at least outside of your house. Hopefully, you get some work done at home. But yeah, I mean, we we're just going through the motions of everything, and that's why everything feels both fast and extremely slow at the same time.
Yeah, we've lost the markers that we usually would have on a daily basis. We're in, okay, at 8 a.m., I have to have breakfast because at 9 I have a meeting and then I have to travel from QC to Makati, which is going to take me 2 hours. Like, we've lost all that. It's out the window. A lot of the rules that we used to have set up for ourselves, it's also out the window. And that's precisely why we wanted to do this episode of SOS.
Ooh,
Parts we've both been on the internet. I guess we love the internet so much that even before this whole, way back 2013, 2014, Aaron and I started doing a show called Millennial Speak on
yes,
YouTube,
yeah,
right?
that was fun.
And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And, during that time, not a lot of people were doing podcasts or vlogs, but we were doing that already because we
Yeah.
loved creating content and we love the internet. I think the internet has so much potential. The digital world is offering us so much so that we feel like we're still connected and we're still together, even if we're miles and miles apart.
Mhm.
So we wanted to create an episode of the podcast that really talks about rules of engagement on the interwebs.
Ooh, that is very interesting and yet very, very applicable to the times that we have right now.
Mm-hmm. And we wanted to answer the question: how do we show unity and diversity, or how are you able to voice out your opinions and the facts and fight for the truth while still being compassionate and kind to others?
Oh, wow. See, I like that there are rules of engagement. It's kind of like the art of war
Mm-hmm.
because there seems to be now um, because of the fact that we're not engaging with people. I think manners have also taken a back seat to some extent when it comes to being online. Yes, online is great because you can voice your opinions and you can say what is on your mind, but at the same time it goes both ways. Should I mean should we allow people to say everything that they want to say? I see again. It's the tip. It's the tipping point of freedom of speech, and at the same time, you should also have, the freedom to tell that person you're wrong. But how are you supposed to do that?
Exactly. And I had this talk before in a university, and I was telling them that the reason why cyberbullying and meanness and hatred is so prevalent in the digital world is because all you see are letters and images and a computer screen or a phone screen. You don't really see the person that is the daughter or the son or the friend or the lover, the husband or the wife of another human being. It dehumanizes the screen, basically dehumanizes the person that you're talking to, and so it's easier to look at them just for their opinions and for the things that you disagree with, and not who they are as a person. And I think that's what we have to kind of go back to now. Like, how do we start valuing human beings as human beings and taking their opinions and their thought processes for what they are, opinions and thought processes that may or may not be correct, right? Bart, I have a question for you. What have you been seeing on social media now that have really kind of affected you, or kind of struck you? Like I was talking about it the other day. Now I saw a tweet going like, stay angry, and that really affected me because I don't think anger is a position that we want to be in. What are some things that you've seen on the internet recently?
The entire canceled movement.
Hmm.
I don't know. I've been bullied my entire life. So I know, I mean, whether it was in grade school, high school, college, even when I was working, up until today, I know what it's like to be bullied. Uh, and to see canceled mentality and the canceled movement on people that, you know, to be to be canceled, to have your entire life really canceled because of maybe one or two sentiments that you had is so disheartening, to say the least.
Yeah.
And
So you see what I'm saying, right? The humanness of a person is reduced to their opinion and to
absolutely,
their sentiments, and you're not looking at the person anymore. You're just looking at the idea. Okay, so go
yes.
on.
And I know some of the people that have been put in that canceled situation, and they have to turn off their comment section and all that and stuff. I That's why there's people who there are people who call out people for not calling out things. So there's it has evolved from, if you say something, you're canceled. Now it's, if you don't say something that is on our side, you're not using your platform, so you're canceled as well. So there that is what's leading, I think, sometimes for people to be in the herd mentality of the online culture, where it's, if I don't side with everyone, I'm going to be canceled. If I express my unique opinion, I'm going to get canceled. So if I keep quiet, I'm going to be canceled. So how are you supposed to react or act in that type of situation? Which is what I do. I'll say one or two things that can apply to a lot of different areas in my life. Wherever if it hits something that might hit you, or hit something in particular, then so be it. But I, for one, do not agree with canceling anyone because of their thoughts, whether it is for or against any of my opinions. And I just take it for what it is. Everything for me is information. Whether it is the way that that person is reacting, that is my information about that person. Or if that person is disseminating information, that's information from that person. And I take it for what it is.
And here's a good reminder. If for example, you're part of a group, right? And this one person does something that you think is wrong and offensive, and all of a sudden the first thing that you do is to gang up on this person and cancel that person, you lose the chance to educate another human being, to help them understand the causes that you are fighting for, to help them evolve into a better part of the society, because all you did really was tell them, hey, you're dumb, get out of our ship.
Yes.
That's all you're doing,
You
right?
can't sit
That's,
with us like that.
you can't sit with us. That's it. So instead of cancel culture, we propose, Aaron and I propose,
Yes.
a couple of steps to really be able to live in unity and diversity. That's precisely where the term university came from. It's a lot of different people, different studies, different worldviews coming together in one congregation, in one space and area, and learning how to live with one another.
Yes, I completely
Off
agree.
the Right off the bat, we have to agree first that every human being is different. Like, we can't demand people to have the same views, opinions, and agree with us 100% of the time. I kind of understand when people hate on the government because they are public servants, so they
Yes.
are up for public scrutiny. But if it's a private citizen, it's a person that just happens to be different from you and believes in different things, or have done you wrong, I don't think that cancel culture is the answer. The answer really is education, so that that person becomes a better part of the community,
Hmm.
so that they stop doing the dumb things that you think they're doing, right?
Yes.
Because if you cancel them out and you make them lose their job, and do all of these things, ano matudulot nun, di ba? How is that going to help you, your cause, your community, or that person, or the
Yes.
persons that they've hurt? Really, it's just vengeance.
It really is. And so that everybody out there has an idea, there are a lot of issues and topics that me and Joyce, we don't even see eye to eye with. We don't see
Mm-hmm.
eye to eye on that. But see, that's what me and Joyce have always done. If there was anything that I did not understand, I would, even before I make my opinion known, I would immediately ask Joyce about it because I
Yeah.
knew she would be more informed in that type of situation. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
I always like to control my opinions, whether it is opinions on anything that is detrimental to society or anything like that. I would rather be informed first before I jump to my opinion, and then I make my own decision.
Yep. So here's our first step parts. The first step that we always have to take to make sure that we become an integral part of the development of our community when it comes to having unity and diversity, it's education, right? The number one step is education. Educate yourself before you start forming your worldview, your opinion, or your thought processes, and make sure that you're not just following where the herd goes. Do
Yes.
your own research.
Do not follow the herd just so
Just
that you can
because.
be part of a herd. Uh, there's nothing wrong with having a unique idea. There's nothing wrong with having a unique understanding of a situation because your perspective is different from somebody else's. Um, Now, you remember that little cartoon? I've seen it so many times online where there was a, a nine that was written down on the floor. And there's two people that are standing on opposite sides of it. One person sees a six, another person sees a nine. Are they both right? Yes. Because from their perspective, they are both, seeing what they are necessarily seeing in that moment. Now, whatever brought you to this moment through your life experiences, through your religion, through your understanding, through your upbringing, it changes the way that we perceive certain situations. Now, if you see something different from the way that I see it, I should not think that I am the only person that is correct. As much as it is for somebody to understand that understand the situation, we also need to understand that people are understanding it in a different situation as well. So that's my
Yeah.
way of
And
looking at it.
yeah, we're all very different also. As Aaron mentioned earlier, we all come from different backgrounds, different educations, different perspectives. And so I think being able to really do your research and form your own worldview and understand things, and not just follow where the herd goes, that doesn't just make you educated, also makes you more compassionate, because the more you research about these things, the more you allow yourself to see the perspective of others, the more you understand that, you know what, every human being has a battle that they're fighting. Every human being has a want and a need, and every human being has been hurt. Every human being has a capability of hurting others. And so understanding the differences in each person just makes you more compassionate and makes you understand that, hey, it's okay for me to put together this worldview. This is what I believe in, but I also understand why that person would come into that particular conclusion that I don't necessarily agree with. So education really is key. The number two thing parts that I wanted to go with, to really be able to be more compassionate with one another, is to understand that tolerance and kindness shouldn't be given only to people that you agree with, but also more so tolerance and kindness with people you disagree with. I think most of the time we have this capacity to love others and to be kind to them and to be tolerating of them as long as they hold the same values and beliefs that we do. But the moment that the people around us are, disagreeing with us, they don't believe or agree with what we believe in or what we're saying, or they aren't for the same cause, we all of a sudden say, intolerant ka kasi, judgmental ka kasi, ingot ka lang kasi talaga. And I think by being, when we ask for tolerance, that means that we also are loving and tolerant and compassionate and kind even to the people who don't agree with us, who don't hold the same worldviews and belief systems with us. Because 'di ba? Parang anong point? What's the point of being nice to people who are nice to you? Honestly, it's so nice to be people who are nice to you. That's what we do all the time. But if you're nice to the person who isn't nice to you, then we're talking, right? Then we have something that we can discuss. Like, how do you show compassion to someone who just straight up disagrees with you? Like, how do I show compassion to somebody who disagrees with me on my Christianity or on the way that I dress or in me marrying at 25, right? Like, people don't really, I mean, it's really what tolerance and compassion is all about.
I completely agree. And if I don't know, I don't know if what I'm gonna say will like hit a different part of your list right there. But for me, if you're going into a conversation with somebody, like let's say you're having a conversation online and you're trying to educate and you're trying to show compassion, uh, but more than that, you're trying to win. You're trying to win the argument and not trying to educate or trying to make sure that that person um, is enlightened by your conversation. Then you're already done.
Hmm.
Do you think though, Joyce, that you can change anyone's mind? Because that is one thing that a lot of people are having concerns with whenever it comes to stuff online and conversations there. It's,
I don't think you can.
can I change anyone's mind anyway?
I don't, I think it's not really, I don't think people should be going out there to change other people's minds. The only responsibility that we have is to present the truth. And every other human being out there has the capacity to process, understand, and accept or reject that truth. By telling yourself that I need to go out there and change the minds of the people around me and make them better human beings, you're putting so much pressure on yourself, so much useless pressure, because a person, even if the, okay, sabihin na lang natin, there's already a law that says you can't steal, right? Stealing is bad. But there are still people who go out and steal, even though they know that stealing is bad, which just proves to show that whatever is right or whatever is the truth, you can keep presenting it and people can keep rejecting it. So your responsibility is not to change the minds of people. Your responsibility is to be educated enough so that you can learn the truth and present the truth. If you don't present the truth, what are you giving? It's just another opinion, right? So it's okay to it's okay to have different opinions. You, if you expect everyone to agree with you, that's a utopian world. And utopian world is not a good world. That means that your individual understanding and perception of things is not valuable at all. It's just one ideology, one belief system, one leadership, one oneness where people can't form their own worldviews and belief systems. So that's not what we're going for.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Okay, what's next?
Okay, the third is, well, that actually kind of goes into the
Oh,
third point,
perfect,
which is
perfect.
to accept the diversity of people and know that each human being has a God given right to have their own opinion.
Okay, um, do you think that people from different political ideologies can be friends? Because that's
Yes.
technically it. That's technically it right there.
Yeah. I think that's it. Yun nga eh. I feel like with the society that we live in now, we have formed this habit of deducing human beings to their political work, to their political biases, to their worldviews, to their religions, to their perceptions, and to their backgrounds. That's not what a human being is made of, right? The reason why we're having so much polarization now in the world is because we have deduced human beings, mothers, sisters, brothers, and fathers into what they believe in. Just because they believe in that doesn't mean that they're horrible human beings. Granted, there are horrible human beings who believe in that particular belief system, but that doesn't mean that that automatically makes a person horrible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless, of course, it's something that really goes against the protection of people and of society, right? If it's just differing opinions, I don't think that that should be that should determine the relationship that you have. Do you
See,
think so?
no, see, this is what it was has been weighing on my mind. I don't know if I'm going to be able to explain this correctly. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to be walking on eggshells, so to say, to make sure that I get this thought of mine out onto a mic and into people's ears with this. I think with the way that we're looking at society right now, especially in the Philippines, especially with what is happening in our current climate of politics, I think people are concentrating too much about the people supporting an ideology instead of the ideology itself.
Mm-hmm.
I think that people are reducing their anger to one side or the other, to the followers of one side or the other, instead of it being, okay, our problem is with policy,
Mm.
not with the people supporting the policy. That should be
Mm-hmm.
the way that it should be. It should be, if your concern is we need to have mass testing for coronavirus across the country, that should be the number one concern. Then your anger should be directed towards that and not the people that are pushing against it. Be
Mm-hmm.
the voice towards change, not changing people's minds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's how I don't know if I got that out correctly. I hope I
Yeah.
didn't offend anyone in any which way that you might think that, oh my god, this Aaron's an idiot. No, from what if your concern is the way that that LGUs are being stopped, then don't pay any mind to anyone that is saying, oh, ikaw kasi privileged ka kaya. No, go and direct your energy towards making a change, not changing
Mm.
minds. That is the way I
Yeah.
see it.
Yeah. One of my favorite authors, Ravi Zacharias, said, every person is equal. The value of every human being is equal. The value of ideas, on the other hand, though, are not. There are good ideas and there are bad ideas. And what we attack, or, well, that's the term that they use, right? What we discourage, what we disagree with, are the ideas and not the human beings. Granted, these human beings are the ones carrying and propagating these ideas. But you also, as a human being, have the capacity to change those ideas. So stop looking at the human being, because we all have that God-given right to form our own opinions and worldviews. The only thing that you should be thinking about is, are these facts or feelings, right? It's we all have to really look at it that way. Na it's not the human being that you're fighting against, it's the wrong ideology. And the more that you focus on the human being, the less you are capable of changing their ideology, because it just goes into wala ka kasing pinag-aralan. 'Di ba ganun na yung narrative ngayon sa social media? Hindi, ano ka kasi, as in parang it's so personal already that it doesn't challenge the idea. It doesn't change the idea. If you don't challenge or change the idea, you can't better society.
I agree. I completely agree. And I think that that's the one thing that I and that's why that was one of the first questions I asked. If you can't change anyone's mind, then it's no use trying to talk to that person in the way, like it. For instance, if Joyce, me and you, if we both disagreed on political ideology, the first thing that we would do is we would not talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
If I knew that I could not change your mind, you knew you could not change mine, then what I would do is we would find common ground elsewhere, because I
Mm-hmm.
cherish you that much in my life. Now, for
Yeah.
instance, if it is somebody that is online, if somebody doesn't agree with my political ideology online, all I need to do is just mute that person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to block that person or anything. I just need to mute it. I don't need to see that right now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I know that anything that I say will not change your mind. I will continue doing research on my end to
Mm-hmm.
better my understanding and my knowledge of the situation. And then from there, if you choose to look at my understanding and my ideology and my the way that I see the world, and it could change yours somewhere down the road, then so be it. But I will
Yeah.
not try to force that on you.
Mm-hmm.
I will not be the one to say, no, I will shove this in your head, down your throat. You will understand the way, my world, and I am correct. I have no right to do that.
Yeah.
I have no right in any which way to do that.
Yeah, that's right. And honestly, also, if you are educated enough, which is the first step that we talked about, if you are tolerant enough, and if you are accepting of diversity enough, you have also the capacity to present better arguments.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, that's really all that matters. You can keep arguing and hating on people and attacking them personally, but if your argument is not better than the other person, what's the point? You're just basically bickering, right?
Exactly.
So always look, what you focus on is not changing other people's minds. You focus on yourself enough that you are able to present better arguments every single time. So
Yes.
if you don't change the mind of the person that you're currently talking to, you at least have the capacity to present better ideas to the world and the community that you belong in.
If you want people to accept your opinion, it has to work both ways.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true.
It
One of
really
the
does.
best Yeah, one of the best quotes that I've ever that I live by is a funny quote that I read from a book before, and it said, "What other people think of you is none of your business." And I read that when I was
I
younger, when I
like
was
that.
starting out in showbiz, and it really helped me, not just because I work in showbiz, but also because of meeting different sorts of people every single day, people who I agree with, people who I disagree with. And I realized that it's not my business to change their minds about what they think, right? It's your business to like be able to do whatever you can within your power to better yourself, and whatever they think of you, it's not your business.
Hmm.
Like that's why I believe in God, because God has judgment for me and for that person that I don't necessarily have a hand in. But if I live my life according to the judgment and to the opinions of others, I will constantly change myself to please them. Then I'll lose track of who I am in the process of completely changing what I am so that I could please them, right? So if you take out that thinking that whatever people think of me and whatever people think of my opinion matters, no, wala ka ng backbone, wala ka ng chance to put together your own worldview. So
Yes.
don't let yourself be defined by the things that you read online. Do your homework, do your own research, find your own worldview, look for the truth and champion for that truth, because at the end of the day, you're gonna die alone. Diba? Parang,
Yeah.
it's like it's your life that you're living. You're not living
Yeah.
it for other
Yeah.
people. If you know.
You see, if you go online and you see my Twitter account, you'll see where I stand. We're not trying to make this a this side is right and that side is wrong, or the government should do this and the government should do that. No, what we're trying to do is we're talking about the discourse that is happening online, and because that is what's, I guess, the one thing that might be the most detrimental part of this entire thing. Um, I I'm obviously Joyce does her research. I do my research, and it's funny because me and Joyce barely talk politics with each other. Even if we might agree with it, we barely talk politics with each other. But if you want people to respect your opinion, you have to respect everyone else's, and I think that that's what I'm going to keep going back to, because I think that's where a lot of the fighting is happening. It's because people are expressing their opinions and people aren't respecting it, and when you don't respect it, then that friction and yada yada yada. Just if people want to talk, let them talk. If people, let them do their own thing.
Yeah. Maya Angelou has a great quote that goes something like, people will forget what you said, who you were, what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
I like that.
And that's very important to remember these days. Sometimes we all have, and Aaron and I would I think agree with this also. We all have the tendency to put out our opinions and our ideas out there because it makes us feel better about ourselves. It makes us feel sometimes superior, or whatever it
Of
makes you
course, yeah.
feel, right? But don't ever do anything and not think about how it will affect the other person on the other side of the stage of the communication line, because it's because of that selfishness that society gets dismantled. If you are living just for yourself to be able to express your anger, your hatred, your opinions without even thinking of being compassionate and kind to other people, that's how world wars start. That's how you start killing the souls of people. And so more than anything, what we wanted to do with this episode really is to remind everyone that we are all human beings here. It might not feel that way because you're just looking at a screen and looking at news bits and 180 characters on Twitter, but the person that you're talking with is another human being. That person was born. That person grew up. That person learned how to use his phone, and now that person is spewing out dumb ideas on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah,
But that person is still a person. They may
yeah.
have dumb ideas, you might have better ones, but that doesn't make you any more important than that dumb person.
Yes.
They're still as important as you. That's what equality is all about.
And I guess to close it out, what we are not saying, do not voice your opinions. On the contrary, learn,
Do.
voice out your opinion. If you're angry about something, be angry about the policy. Don't put it out on the people. Like if you're getting angry at the supporters of someone, don't get angry at them. Get angry at the person that is. It's like the same way. If you're angry at somebody at work, you're not gonna get angry at their entire barcada because they're friends with that person. No, you're gonna get angry at that person. Keep it as keep and okay, I think I'm gonna go back to what we started with again, where you said that there was one tweet was to stay angry, and that gave you a little bit of it harbored on you for a bit.
Yeah.
Focus your anger. If you're still angry, focus it. Focus it towards making something better. Keep your opinion. Keep staying informed. Learn new parts of all the news bits. Learn more about the coronavirus. Do all your research and then focus your attention towards making change instead of changing someone's mind.
Kind of in a nutshell, present better arguments and be part of the solution. That's what we're going for. That's a society that we want to be in. And that's the kind of engagement that we want to see in social media. Not bickering and hatred towards each other, but really presenting better ideas and solutions that we should all rally behind.
There you go. So
That's it.
hopefully that make if that makes two people nicer online, then so be it. I will take that. I will take that all the way to the grave. I will enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, basically just be nicer, guys. Oh my gosh. It's such a super old tweet before, but if every word that you've ever posted on social media could be tattooed on your skin, would you be proud of those tattoos? If the answer is no, then maybe we should all start rethinking of the way that we carry ourselves. And every time you're arguing with someone, imagine that you are looking straight at a person across to you so that you'll teach your brain to understand that, hey, I'm not just talking to a computer or some non-existent idea out there. I'm talking to a person who's holding this idea, and that person is valued and loved by God, and so I should also learn how to value and love that person. So there.
I hope they don't tattoo on my body my tweets because I've had some really stupid tweets. Like that would be the worst thing to
You
ever
know what? I
happen.
would I would love to see your memes being tattooed on your
Oh
body.
God,
That
no!
would be funnier.
Oh no! Half of my back is just all Joe Exotic tweets and memes. Oh no! All right.
Precisely. Oh my gosh. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. If you
If
did,
you did,
again. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please don't forget to tag us, hashtag adulting with Joyce Pring, hashtag shot of sanity, and also tag us on our respective social media
yes,
accounts.
for her it's at Joy Spring, and for me it's at Aaron Ataide. Hopefully, on our next episode, we're gonna do something a little bit different to try and get more people involved in the show because we know that you guys are super excited whenever we come out with new content, and we want to bring you in even more. So stay tuned for that. Make sure that you follow both of our Instagram accounts to be able to know what is going on and how fast you can be a part of the show.
Awesome.
Till then, we're out of here.
Paalam.
Bye bye.
And that's it for this episode. If you'd like to continue the conversation, go to www.joyspring.com. And if you want to support the podcast, go to patreon.com/adultingwithjoyspring. I'll talk to you guys soon. Paalam.